Michael Flaherty.
And this is Flahertys.
On Films, Tim Cook's favorite podcast on iTunes.
Whoa.
He loves it.
He loves it.
Yeah.
So this week, we continue our countdown of the AFI Top 100 with The Apartment. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Michael, you want to give us a little synopsis?
Sure. I'm going to read it off this computer. A man tries to rise in his company by letting its executives use his apartment for trysts, affairs, but complications and a romance of his own ensue.
Whoa.
Okay.
And the film is from 1960.
Yes, 1960 on the dot.
Have you seen this film before?
Not heard of it.
I also had not heard of it, but I didn't realize that I had seen a musical based on this movie called Promises, Promises, starring Sean Hayes from Will and Grace.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah, that will not add to the discussion. I am just bragging.
I can't believe it. It sounds like there's a lot there to discuss.
I mean, so much. Mm-hmm. Oh.
How was Sean Hayes? How did he do?
He's actually quite talented. He's a talented man.
I'm not surprised.
But before we get started, I'd like to do a little callback to one of our fan favorite episodes.
Yes. Which one was that?
Blade Runner.
Oh, yes.
Now,
we get a lot of emails about that one.
So many emails. People will not stop bugging us.
Most of them are by Tim Cook, just saying, great job. I'm glad iTunes has some good material.
Right.
Yeah.
That is mostly what they're. But also, hey guys, are you going to see that new Blade Runner? Yes, we are. And we did.
I'm still on Tim Cook. I think his email is like headchef@apple.com because his name's Tim Cook. Anyway, go on.
At Apple.
Yeah, at Apple. All right. So what were you saying?
That we just saw Blade Runner 2049.
My favorite movie. You know what I loved about it?
Tell me.
It's just like the ambiguity. It doesn't have good characters or story, obviously, but it's got this ambiguity and visuals. That's what I like of movies is when they're visually good.
What is morality? I don't know.
Exactly. Just this really lazy, half-hearted attempt to have any kind of philosophical themes at all, but just and no characters, no story.
Right.
That's to me. It does have a story, but it's just very weak. But that's not important. We're getting off topic.
Right.
How did we drift this far? Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Good visuals.
Good. Really beautiful film.
Really just, so beautiful. And that's what makes a good movie, I think.
So before we started this, Michael and I agreed that we are angry that the internet consensus, critics and nerds alike, effing love this movie.
You're gonna spoil the bit. Yeah, it's real bad.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I did not like it. I did not like the film.
I'm angry, but just everybody agrees it's a masterpiece, and they're blown away.
Yeah, I saw something like it may have not done well in the box office, but it's going to be a cult classic.
This is a case of people wanting to like it.
Right.
They're not thinking for themselves.
Right. And apparently,
wake up, sheeple.
People who think it's boring, a la me.
Yeah. We just don't get it.
I'm just a fucking moron who can't understand what they're trying to tell me. And I'm like, the problem is, I'm kind of a dummy, and I do understand what they're trying to tell me. That's how I know they've done it poorly.
The thing is, though, it's you just don't get it. I get it. That's why I love it. But you just don't get it.
My favorite thing you said after you saw the movie was, you said, Ryan Gosling walking slowly through beautiful scenery. You wish that had been the whole movie.
Absolutely. That part was amazing.
Yeah.
It looked so cool. I actually was stunned by some of those visuals. But the plot I couldn't care less in the last few scenes.
Stop trying to do things.
Have less plot. Have less going on.
Just Ryan Gosling being just a great actor, by the way.
He
did a very good job.
Ryan Gosling.
Maybe have one that I loved that weird fight scene with the holograms. That was a fun Harrison Ford and him scene.
Yeah.
But just again, stunning visuals.
Stunning movie. Not a good movie.
No.
Not a masterpiece.
Very boring.
Yeah, it's not like a Titanic type movie. It's like a bad film.
So yeah, I think that's our good 3-minute wrap up of the film. Don't see it. You're not an idiot for being bored at this super boring film.
I'm glad we did address that because our inbox is getting full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, listeners.
Tim Cook, especially.
Tim Cook. Shout out.
Yeah. He's a great man.
So let's get back to it.
Yeah.
The Apartment from 1960.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen it
I have
or
not
heard of it?
seen it or heard of it until we just saw it recently.
Some initial reactions?
I enjoyed it, but I don't understand why. Because it is a movie with problems and faults, but it's like, I still liked it for some reason.
It was fine.
I thought it was enjoyable, but I don't really know why. I didn't like the main characters that much. It's kind of loose on plot, and it's a comedy that really strays away from being comedic at sometimes.
It does have some tonal issues.
It's a messy movie with issues, and still, I don't know.
It was kind of delightful.
It was, but I can't really pinpoint why that is.
Well, let's hear from some people on the other spectrum. Some
Okay.
people who just really didn't like it. Let's get to some Amazon 1-star reviews.
This is my favorite segment. We're going to Amazon.com or the 1-star reviews of the DVDs.
Yes.
Is this yeah?
It's the DVDs and streaming it. It's all in one place.
Okay. Oh, cool. Cool.
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm going to read the first review here.
Yeah.
I was looking for a comedy, and this show was in black and white, and I didn't see anything humorous or even romantic in it. What's so cool about men cheating on their wives and sleeping to your way to the top? I felt sorry for poor Shirley MacLaine. I lived through the days when women were just objects of male lust and lied to about their wives and families. Disgusting and cheap. Louise.
You were wondering if Mikey was reading some of that wrong. No. that was the way this was written.
I mean...
Yeah, okay.
Some of the men's behavior was disgusting, but okay, sure.
Garbage. This movie was just very distasteful.
This is an opinion. Here we go.
The subject was just immoral and horrible. People cheating on their spouses. People covering from them. How seedy. Icky. I couldn't finish it. Also, I've always found Jack Lemmon annoying and not very funny. I think he thought he was funnier than he was, says S.T. Peterson.
That part about Jack Lemmon, he wasn't that funny.
No, people think he is so brilliant.
So maybe I would agree on that second part, the first part where this is entirely raunchy.
So we are going to read the rest of these, but I have to say, I was really surprised that the general theme of the 1-star reviews was, this is an immoral film.
Right.
Because of the adultery.
And this movie, it was filmed 80 years ago, so...
Right.
But still, yeah, it's weird. It's not that...
57 years ago.
Right. It's not like Titanic. It's not like there's a boob.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All the characters in this movie were despicable, pathetic, or both. Why couldn't all the major characters have died at the end? Whoa!
Wow.
So...
That's Franklin.
So far, our reviews are ranging from too much nudity, not enough dying of our main characters. I haven't even close to finish this review. Let me finish the rest. I would have cheered.
With the dying.
Right, with the dying. Yeah. I occasionally watch old movies, never modern ones, to escape up to a better time. I'd hate this person. Right. Modern people are horrible. Wow. I have a lot of editorials for this review. This movie shows the transition from old moral times to disgusting modern times. But it crossed the line, and I did enjoy it. I will make sure my next movie is much older. I hate you, Franklin.
Franklin sucks.
Franklin, man, you're such a buzzkill.
I didn't realize that people were great before 1960 and sucked after 1960.
That does explain a lot. Yeah.
Does he know that, Jim Crow happened before this? Does he know about wars?
Let's not disturb... He's listening. Let's not disturb his worldview.
Poor Franklin. So I have to say... Yeah, Franklin got into it with some people in the Amazon comments, and there were some accusations of communism thrown around, so this guy may not be well.
I love the internet. Go on.
Yes. All right. This is the last one here from Richard.
Yeah.
Yuck. Anyone who thinks The Apartment is deep or funny is seriously challenged, and they will also love Wally Cox and George Gobel and the decline of anything masculine in actors.
Great words. Yuck. We don't have a lot of yucks in modern vernacular.
I also do not know who those men are, and I'm very confused. But he also got into it. There were 20 comments after his.
Yeah.
And he kept calling everyone gay on the message boards.
Like, as in homosexual. Okay.
Correct. Like, oh, I guess there's a little something gay in what you're saying. And I'm like, is that what you mean? By masculine, not gay? I don't really know what Richard's deal is, but he's being kind of a dick.
Yeah, man. Richard, there's real things to not like about this movie.
But
Anyway, what's our next segment?
I think why don't you check the time?
Oh, fuck. It is, I hate to tell you this. I'm disgusted at what time it is right now, but I can't run away from this truth.
Okay.
It's BAM!
Time for Sam.
Here we go. Let's do
That's
it.
a great introduction.
Do you hate our research?
This is my favorite segment. Here we go.
You already had a favorite segment this episode.
They're all my favorite. It's a great podcast. I see what Tim Cook sees.
Yeah.
He's a wise man. Wise man.
So this is the segment where our researcher Sam comes and tells us some fun facts.
Yay.
I noticed we never introduce our segments, so
That's fair. This film was nominated for 10 Academy Awards.
10?
Wow.
I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. It won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Film Editing, and Best Art Direction.
Whoa.
Wow.
Weird.
Nominated for, but did not win, Best Sound, Best Cinematography, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actor, and Best Actress.
Oh.
Now, a couple fun facts on that. This was the last black and white film to win Best Picture until either The Artist in 2011 or Schindler's List in 1993. Some people are a little weird.
It wasn't all in
Right, because there was that one
yeah.
slightly colored scene, but...
Yeah.
So yeah, the last black and white film to win. Also, John Lennon was nominated, did not win Best Actor.
Jack Lemmon.
Jack Lemmon, sorry.
Yeah.
But when Kevin Spacey won for American Beauty, he actually said in his speech, "I would like to dedicate this to the man who inspired my performance, a man who has been my friend and my mentor, and since my father died, a little bit like my father, whose performance in The Apartment stands as one of the finest we've ever had."
Really?
Jack Lemmon, wherever you are, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Jack Lemmon was that good? And here's what's weird about that.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey is amazing.
He is,
He's
way better.
Yeah. That's an interesting fact.
All right, let's hear more facts.
So as Colleen mentioned before, this inspired Neil Simon to write the play Promises, Promises. It came out in 1968 and ran on Broadway for 1,281
Starring
runs.
Sean Hayes.
No, he was a part of the remake.
Oh, wow.
They brought it again. But it had the famous song in it, "I'll Never Fall in Love Again."
An original song?
Yep.
Oh.
So that's
heard
a
it.
fun one.
Cool.
I didn't know that was from Promises, Promises.
You saw it.
Well, I thought that was just like a
song
song
that
out
they
in the
put it-
ether. And
No,
then they put
it's
in
from
the-
it.
That's a cool fact.
Director Billy Wilder hated Marilyn Monroe. He had just worked with her on 7-Year Itch and Some Like It Hot the year before and just hated her for her star treatment and for her poor work ethic. So he created a character in this movie just to mock her.
Legitimate
Oh.
things to dislike.
That's interesting. So in the film, one of the guys is cheating and he's like, "I got a girl who looks just like Marilyn Monroe." And she does like the worst, most awful caricature of Marilyn Monroe. It's like, "When are we going home, big boy?" Like, it's so weird. And now that makes sense because I thought it was like, oh, is that supposed to be sexy or cool? But that makes a lot more sense now. That frames
Context.
that better.
A lot of this, I'm assuming, I actually haven't seen the film, takes place in the office, or not
Yes.
really. So to create the vast sea of just faceless workers, they really needed to do some use some creativity in it because they had just the small studio. So they did first couple of rows of all adults in normal desks. The second rows, or the second kind of area, was children in smaller desks and little kid suits. And then all the way farther in the back were actually just cutouts with wires attached that they operated to give this vast view of this horrible sea of just faceless workers.
That's
A
crazy.
third of that sounds really adorable.
I know, I was thinking.
2/3.
You like cardboard cutouts attached to wires?
Does sound adorable.
And then the last fact I have for you guys. So the villain of this who was played by Fred McMurray, apparently was a huge cheapskate. And Billy Wilder loved to tell the story about how in one scene, the villain is getting his shoe shined, and he flips a quarter to the shoe shiner. And it just wasn't getting right. It just didn't look good. So they're like, oh, let's give him a 50-cent piece to have him flip that. And Fred McMurray said, I would never give him 50 cents. I cannot play the scene.
Well, 50 cents is like $1,000, right, in 1960s, so.
Right.
Still. So.
That's pretty douchey.
Okay.
All right, here we go. That was BAM!
Time for Sam.
Our favorite segment.
Great segment.
Yep.
Good segment. All right, let's just dive right into it. So the plot of the film, as we discussed. So Jack Lemmon is this guy, and I think right away, he's this timid, meek
Shy,
man
obsessed
who-
with numbers.
Oh, yeah. So he, loves listing facts. That's his
Which is a
fun
really
bit.
cool character trait.
Right.
I would love this person in real life. Sarcasm. Would not.
You would not love this person.
No.
And they establish right away that people are using his apartment key to cheat on their wives.
Mm-hmm.
And I do kind of agree with some of their Amazon reviewer friends that is really played up for laughs in a very sad way. But maybe that's just a 1960s thing.
Yeah, I don't even remember, though, when there was a moment for laughter. This is a comedy where, when was I supposed to laugh? I did enjoy the movie, but I don't... Was it funny?
When he's like, oh, are you bringing more women? And he's like, excuse me, I'm a married man. I'm only cheating with one woman.
Oh, yeah.
There were some,
Yeah,
there
that
were
was
supposed to be jokes.
That was a chuckle moment, sure.
Sure. Yeah, the whole office building, it was very Mad Men-esque. Mm-hmm. The whole
So
secretarial
cool.
pool, and apparently filled with children. Mm-hmm. So cute. And of course it made me think, so he's supposed to be an accountant at an insurance firm. Mm-hmm. And it's like, all your jobs are obsolete.
Yeah.
All of you are one Excel spreadsheet of work. Which, like Richard, our friend, made me sad for a simpler time when people were better.
The good times.
Right.
Now we're all on the shit times with the shit people.
Right, but really good computers.
But Richard knows. Yeah.
Richard knows. So there are these executives, and they're using his apartment because apparently they can't get hotel rooms. That was never explained why they can't do that.
Yeah, they're executives. If you're an executive, you have all the money.
Right.
That's of all the things that I know, that's the one thing I definitely know.
It is also very clear that they were using the apartment by the hour. Just go to your office. I don't know.
Right.
There's a lot of questions I have about this
A little
premise.
contrived.
Right. So, yeah. And it's clear, he is just a pushover and he's not cool. Mm-hmm. And then he meets this pretty elevator girl.
Which is a job, I guess, to stand in an elevator and push buttons.
Right.
We talk about shit times. I have to do that myself when I go into an elevator.
Every day.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why is a pretty girl not doing this for me?
Why don't I have a glove?
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm just
it
mad
sucks.
now.
It sucks.
But,
Richard was right. Hashtag Richard was right.
right. And then, and I feel like they go out of their way to highlight, how sad and dopey he is.
Sure.
When he eats his sad TV dinner, and then there's that unnecessary...
I wasn't sad at all. He had a TV dinner and a martini, and it just
dope.
Yeah, his chair pulled up right next to the television as he watched it, and then he went to sleep.
Remember how we talked about how right Richard was?
Right.
There was a lot of fun martini drinking.
Yeah.
Including the one time where one of the bosses just had 4 martinis in the back of a cab.
Right.
I just thought that was...
He went from the bar, to the apartment, and just had to have these 4 martinis, so he's carrying them all at once. Richard, I bet that's what he misses the most.
Yeah.
Is the martinis.
But then there was another scene where Jack Lemmon is drinking martinis, and then they have all the olives of each one, and then he's clearly had at
20
least 20
martinis. Yeah.
You are gonna die of alcohol poisoning at that point.
Better times.
Better times.
Better times.
Anyway, so he's with Shirley MacLaine, or he's not with her, but he's he thinks she's just the prettiest gal.
Just a dandy, doll.
Dandy gal. So then he meets our antagonist, whose name I already forgot.
Sheldrake. That's my favorite part about him.
I thought C.C. Baxter. Ooh,
Oh, that's also a really good name. I was wondering what was special about this movie.
Yes,
But the
main character's name is C.C. Baxter.
Doesn't Sheldrake just sound like an awesome Bond villain, or?
Oh yeah.
Or if you're playing a cheesy video game, the antagonist's name is Sheldrake.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so it's very good. Is my
So
point.
Sheldrake calls him into his office and he's like, "Hey man, you can't be this immoral, awful guy. one bad apple in a bunch. And then he's like, oh, P.S. I actually need your key, so give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. It happened.
That happened exactly that way.
In that order.
Also, so he's giving his key out to a lot of executives because he might get a promotion. They're not promising him anything.
Because he's so timid.
Right.
That's because of his character.
Right.
It's pushover. Yeah.
So
But then he gets tickets to the Music Man. Gee
Which-
whiz.
that's so nifty.
I would have loved to go see that. Yeah.
With some martinis in hand.
I would love to drink 20 martinis to see the Music Man. That sounds like a great night.
We should just do that tonight.
What?
What are we doing on this podcast?
Yeah, well, this is a waste of time.
Anyway, so he's like, oh, I'm going to ask Shirley to the Music Man. And she's like, well, I have a date, but you know what? I'm just going for a drink with this guy, and then I'll meet you at the Music Man. Mm-hmm. And who do you think she's meeting?
Well, who?
Our Mr. Sheldrake.
Fuck.
And
But it's not that bad. I mean,
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's
oh,
fine.
because they go to the sweet-ass tiki bar.
I mean, it's fine. Like, she doesn't have to marry our
Right.
Cece Baxter.
Right.
Continue, please.
Remember that sweet-ass tiki bar they were in?
That was awesome. Why are more bars so gimmicky?
Oh, Richard, you're
Sam,
so right.
Sam, this bar was like a tiki bar, but it's like each booth had like thatch roof over their
Why
head.
are we there right now?
I
It
know.
was so great. And the drinks looked great.
Yeah.
And there was just...
They really just went all out. They committed to the theme.
I loved it so much.
That was my favorite part of the movie, I think.
And then Shirley MacLaine comes in, and she is just very sad, and what a great actress.
Question.
Yes.
Did you like her character?
I mean, what does like mean? I really enjoyed her little monologues about, like, her feeling cheap and used, and, like, how she's clearly a young girl in the city, and she's being manipulated by this gross dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like her,
Yeah.
but I kind of was rooting for her. Like, I wanted her to figure her shit out.
She's just a victim. She doesn't really move the plot.
Right. She's not a person.
Right.
She is a prop for the bad and good forces.
That's what I keep coming back to. Like, I didn't really like her, and I definitely didn't like Cece Baxter.
Except for the name.
Except for the name. Very cool name. Very Mad Men-y. Very cool.
Right.
So it's like, why do I like this? But it is pleasant for some reason.
It is.
Yeah.
And listeners, you're going to get more confused as we go on with the plot of this film as
Oh,
to
yeah.
why we like
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, so then he's like, I don't really get how, but Sheldrake somehow, he says, I'm definitely going to divorce my wife. I'm meeting with a lawyer tomorrow. And she's like, oh, good, because I'm so in love with you. So they go back to Cece Baxter's apartment.
Which, I don't know if we said, is a pretty rad apartment.
Oh, it's very nice.
Yeah, it's a big space.
Especially
Second floor?
For New York City.
Yeah.
Very
What was
nice.
the rent? It was 80
$80 a month.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Yeah.
get. So he's stood up at the Music Man, which just go in at some point.
Just go in, yeah. Just get 20 martinis and enjoy it yourself. You're going to have a great time. It's a great musical.
Right. If you don't die of alcohol poisoning.
Right. Well, it's the 60s. You're not going to die.
Right, of
Yeah,
course. So they don't see each other again until, oh my God, how did we not talk about the scene where he's trying to charm Shirley MacLaine, Cece Baxter, by telling her that he read her personnel file and memorized everything about her, including her social security number, her address, and she's just like, tee-hee-hee.
Oh, that's so funny. You're such a weird, kooky guy. It's so dandy, I believe was the quote of the movie.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Right, so... And that never really rubbed off on me, or that never really escaped my knowledge, my memory. That's all I associate with Cece Baxter is, oh, creepy stalker man.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was gross. So anyway, fast forward. They're at this swinging Christmas party. Looks very Mad Men-esque. People are necking.
This is the one full of children?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. The children isn't like in the secretarial pool at their desk during
okay.
the working day. This
Okay.
is just people standing around, again, necking. Which, by the way,
Necking?
I have to say, for all these people calling out the amorality, it was very, I thought, risque for 1960.
Did we see any making out?
Yeah, there was some making out when they were like walking through the offices. Remember, he had to kick a couple out of his office.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering, I did feel a little bit more immoral after this viewing.
Yes.
Like I was thinking about maybe doing some sins.
As an unmarried man.
Yeah, maybe doing some graffiti.
Research, did you have a note?
Just they filmed that the Christmas party on December 23rd. They wanted it to be the closest to the Christmas spirit. And almost everything was done in one take. In fact, the director said, I wish it was always this easy.
That's a really cool fact.
That's awesome.
It did look like a total Rip Roaring Mad Men party. People were dancing on the desk. People were just having a fun time.
Looked like a swankified place.
And they were wasted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because people being wasted was part of two pivotal plot points. One, where Sheldrake's secretary goes to Shirley MacLaine and is like, oh, by the way, he tells everyone he's going to leave his wife, and he's slept with a ton of women in this office building.
Is this when Sheldrake's secretary...
Yeah.
Who had that inside information
Right.
that Sheldrake's really a bad guy, and he's not going to leave his wife.
Right.
Tells that to Shirley MacLaine.
Right.
Yeah.
So, she wasted. And then, CC Baxter's also wasted, and is like... Hey, Shirley MacLaine, I was really mad at you.
Hey, girl!
Hey, girl! Get out of that elevator.
Get off your gloves, as I believe was the quote.
Yeah. And he's like, have a drink. I mean, I was so mad, but now I love you still, and let me tell you all these facts about you. And it's so gross. And he is not reading the room. He's like trying to show her his new office, and she's like, oh.
Okay.
Interesting. Oh, in his new hat. His little jaunty
bowler
hat.
hat. Yep.
It's like, should I wear it like this or like this? Like, does anything matter?
Right.
And he's like, okay.
So he's trying to talk her up, but she's still with the knowledge that the man she loves is never going to love her back.
Oh.
So she's like just sad, and he's like chatting her up, not reading the room until she gives him the little mirror, right? But it's cracked, and we didn't talk about this because this was set up, and he knows about the cracked mirror. And he connects that to know that...
He found that cracked mirror in his apartment earlier, and he had to give it back to Sheldrake. He's like, oh, your lady left this in our apartment.
Basically, he just discovers in this moment that she is going with Sheldrake.
Right.
And my favorite line of the movie is when, oh, you like this mirror? Yeah, it's like my broken soul. Or some real angsty.
It's broken just like me.
Yeah.
And he's like... Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. And that just wins him over again.
Right. He's like, I must have her.
God, she's hot. It's like what I think the quote of the movie.
Oh boy. So then she, one more time, is going back to the apartment with Sheldrake. Mm-hmm. And, oh God. And this is where it really takes a turn. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she gives him...
This is like a real zany turn. Go on.
Real zany, real fun kitsch stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, I'm going to go home to my wife and kids and all these presents. I didn't have time to get you anything. Here's $100. Buy yourself something nice.
Yeah, you whore, but he doesn't say that.
Right, but that's...
Subtext.
Right. She's like... And then she like starts unbuttoning her dress, and he's like, well, we don't have time for that now. And she's like, but you paid for it. It was like, whoa!
Very funny.
Right, really hilarious.
Yeah, I laughed a lot.
Jaunty antics. Mm-hmm. So he leaves, and she decides to suicide herself.
Mm-hmm. Man, did I chortle at this part. Right. Very funny.
Yeah, so she takes a ton of sleeping pills, and meanwhile, CC Baxter is now at the bar drinking 20 martinis, getting sloshed with this lady.
Yeah.
Having a fun time.
This is the infamous 20 martini scene. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So they go home in a cab, and he's trying to bring this lady in, and Shirley MacLaine's passed on the bed, maybe dead.
Maybe dead. I don't expect this movie to go there, but surprise is one of the elements of comedy.
Right. So he goes and gets a doctor who, by the way, there's this running gag that the doctor's like, oh, you so-and-so, you're just sleeping with all these women all the time. Because,
but he's not,
it's not him, though.
Which is, again, very funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
So he comes in and saves her, and I guess she's fine, but not great.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, 1960s medicine is interesting. Because you hear her throwing up off screen, then he takes in the living room and starts force feeding her coffee and slapping the shit out of her.
I did forget the slapping. How did I forget it? It was very silly.
Yeah. It's like, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Multiple slaps.
Yeah. And then like, coffee, slap, slap, slap. It was so weird.
I'm a doctor. Slap, slap, slap.
And I'm Jewish, because they mention that a lot.
Yeah. It's very important.
Right. Okay, so then they spend the next couple of days together, and she figures out that it's his apartment. They play gin sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But, oh yeah, I remember that scene, where it's just like, well, I don't really know how to play. It's like, oh, don't worry, I'm amazing. And then they play, it was like, well, that doesn't make it fun.
Yeah.
You're really good and I'm not.
Oh, I win again, 176-0. And
man, we're having a good time. Like, that's not...
Are you...
Jack Lemmon, I hate you.
Oh, God, he's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he calls Sheldrake, And he's like, oh, you should know that your lady almost died. Do you want to come visit her? He's like, fuck no, I got a family and we're doing family shit.
Because he's so evil.
He's not a good guy.
Yeah, terrible.
He doesn't care.
Nope.
Ugh.
Man.
And she just says this line about being a beautiful idiot. I thought that was really sad.
Yeah.
And then...
Very funny, though.
Right. So she lives with her sister and brother-in-law, which is important later, because...
That was one of my notes. The brother-in-law is off in another scene, like, oh, my sister-in-law's not calling me. And I'm like, well, she should have called you.
But do you remember, like, there was a scene when she's at the apartment, she's like, oh, I should call them. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. And I'm like, that's so fucking weird.
Yeah, let her call her family. Or you should call her if she's too weak or something. They really need to know.
Yes.
So...
Oh, boy.
Okay, yeah, continue.
Okay, so then finally he gets back to the apartment and he's like all mad. He punches Cece Baxter in the face.
Sheldrake does?
No, the brother-in-law.
Oh,
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
brother-in-law thinks that the reason she's sick is because of him and that they've been
Reasonable. Man, am I on the brother's side.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they've been doing the naughty for like 2 days straight, I guess.
Oh, yeah. That is not cool.
There is something we haven't discussed, though, is that the executives are all these old weirdos who bring back these women for like an hour. And I just keep thinking, what do they get out of it, these women?
Sex with executives. Executive sex. Richard and I get this.
Oh,
It's
right.
like back...
This is
It's a different era.
Back in the good days.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. What
Okay.
more would you want?
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Okay.
Besides executive dick. But like
Right.
mad many.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, none of them look like John Hamm. Let's be clear.
No, but they're thinking of John Hamm.
Okay. Fair enough. And then I actually can't remember. I remember the last scene of this movie, but I can't remember what happens after that. The brother-in-law gets mad. She's like, oh, no, actually, it's fine. He's like, oh, my bad.
Well, maybe I'm skipping a scene, but the turning point is when Sheldrake gives Cece Baxter promotion.
Oh, that's right.
And then he's like, well, I'm going to need that key to your apartment because I had to toss mine away. And he goes, sure, I'll give you a key to the apartment. And this is like the end of the movie. He gives him the key, walks in the other room. Sheldrake comes by. He's like, hey, I think this is the wrong key. It's the washroom. He's like, yeah, because I'm quitting.
Whoa.
And then he walks out.
So he finally did the right
He
thing.
stood up.
And then Sheldrake goes to Shirley MacLaine, and he's like, oh, my wife found out about everything, and she's kicking me out and divorcing me. Oh, but also in the previous scene, we learned this information that he was getting divorced, and his wife kicked him out, so Jack Lemmon's all like, oh, so now you can be with Shirley. And he's like, fuck no, I'm going to be swinging back.
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Right. So, but then, next scene, Sheldrake's with Shirley, and he's like, oh, hey, now we can be together, and I love you. And although we don't have that apartment key anymore, because Cece Baxter did the right thing.
And that's the only place where we can have sex, is that apartment.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's staying at a men's only place.
Still.
It was weird. And she's like, oh, he did the right thing. So then she goes to his apartment and he's moving. I don't know where to. Neither of them have jobs anymore. And he's like, let's finish up that game of gin. And then he says, I love you. And then she says, shut up and deal.
Sticks the landing, this movie.
I did really like
I
that.
did like
I
that
thought that
too.
was really cute.
Because I kept waiting for so they're going to fall in love just after 3 days? Come on. But they don't really. They just have this.
He is grossly in love with her. I mean,
Right, he says that. I'm deeply in love with you.
I'm deeply in love with you.
I adore you endlessly.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's one of the weird things in the Amazon reviews was a lot of people arguing that this is one of the best, most, a beautiful romantic story.
Yeah.
And I don't get that. I guess it's nice that he cared for her.
On one side, you have someone who is obsessed with the other person.
Right.
On the other side, you just have a victim who doesn't really have any emotion the other way, it seems like. So...
I mean, she is clearly a prize for Cece Baxter to do when he does the right thing, he wins her.
Which is good.
Right.
Yeah, better times.
Right, better times.
Yeah, I did like that.
If you were a decent enough person, you got enough nice points,
Yeah.
and you got to win the lady.
Simpler. Yeah.
Simpler times.
Yeah, I hate all these complex... It's not like a Blade Runner where you really have to dig deep.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if we just got another opinion here, that would
Yeah,
really
you know what? You know what? I actually knew you were going to say that.
Oh my God.
I predicted it.
How did
So
you know?
I've scheduled a call with who else but our brother John.
Oh, bro.
Let's give him a call. This is Bro Call.
Woo!
Call brother John.
Calling Brother John.
Here we go. Here we go.
Thank you, Siri.
Siri, you're so great. Now I see why Tim Cook made you.
Did he? I mean, he doesn't make things.
Let's
right?
just assume that that is the case.
Okay. I didn't know he was an inventor.
Anytime now, John.
Hello.
Hello, John. You're here with Colleen Flaherty and Michael Flaherty, your siblings. We're talking about the movie The Apartment.
From 1960.
Have you seen it? What do you think about it? What are your thoughts? Tell all.
You guys aren't just calling to say hi? I mean, that
Never.
kind of hurt.
That's never the case.
I mean,
I know, right?
yeah.
Well, I did see about 20 minutes of it as I walked past you guys watching it 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
Yeah, and what'd you think?
I think, honestly, I caught entirely of the plot in that 20 minutes, which, I think says a lot about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see if I can get it all right here. Low-level guy in an office lets his managers have affairs in his apartment.
Correct.
Get promoted, but falls in love with one of the mistresses, and then eventually they leave each other. He leaves the job. She leaves the guy from both each other.
Whoa.
When he falls in love with the mistress, he doesn't realize it's a mistress.
Oh, I missed that twist.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's pretty close.
That
So
was
I'll
a
say
fun
this.
twist.
A, pretty straightforward movie, but B, considering, what is it, 1960? That's a pretty modern plot, wouldn't you say? Like, kind of adultish even for that era.
A little bit risque, yeah. A little
said that.
immoral.
Yeah,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. My morals were violated a little bit. But, yeah.
And yet I appreciated the adult themes.
Yeah, it's really funny the way it violated the sanctity of marriage over and over again. I think that's really funny.
Yeah, it's like affairs are funny. Like cheating on your wife
Yeah.
is like really funny. But I'm glad you liked it.
I mean, if that's your kind of thing.
If that's what you're into, it's fine.
Oh, I sense the sarcasm there. But if I may defend the movie, of which, I saw 20 minutes out of what?
Yeah, your favorite movie. Go on.
Could they have taken it seriously? Wouldn't they have been hit even harder had they taken it seriously? Rather than trying to make it, this is just a funny joke.
That's a good point. What you missed of the movie was there was a suicide attempt as well.
You did miss all the which were very
No,
funny.
I caught both the suicide attempts.
Oh, okay.
But I walked past when she took all the sleeping pills, and I was there for the 5 minutes for the finale.
We actually haven't discussed how they do try to make the suicide funny. Like how he starts hiding knives and he's like, you can't open that window. And if you could, it's only a floor down. And it's like they're trying to make it funny.
Or he talks about the time where he tried to kill himself.
Oh, I forgot about
And he had
that.
Again, guys, this is reinforcing my suggestion that they're
is it?
trying to take all these adult themes and just trying to, water them down a bit to make it okay.
That's true. Yeah, he took a gun and was going to shoot himself in the head because a girl didn't love him, and then he accidentally shot himself in the knee. And then he said, and a week later, I didn't even care about her.
So, did you like the movie, John?
Honestly, the reason I walked away in the first place was it didn't seem that fun. But as I got there, I started walking past more at the end because I was the blinded dummy in Bridge a lot. I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah, and for our listeners, our brother is not an 80-year-old man. I know you might be confused because he was playing bridge.
Oh, Colleen, shut up and deal.
Nice reference. Nice reference. What grade would you give this movie that you saw 20 minutes of?
I would probably watch another 20 minutes of it.
Whoa.
But I doubt I could stay and sit and watch the whole thing because I would probably get bored.
High
So let's
praise.
go with a good old C+. A good passing grade, but not, definitely
Okay.
not something you're going to remember later.
Totally.
All right, I think this was a good bro call.
This was my favorite bro call, honestly.
It's our favorite segment.
I know that's not true because you told me the one where you called me, I say I haven't seen it, and then you hang up on me was your favorite.
That's also my favorite. I have multiple favorites. All right. We'll talk to you later, John.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Man, that's my favorite segment. All right.
Best segment.
It was the best segment. Oh, that's mine.
Michael was talking about his alcoholic beverage, which is not a martini, sadly.
Yeah. It's true.
Okay, so would this go in your personal top AFI? I have some thoughts about that.
Yeah, please.
So another one of this dude's, Sam said his name like 80 times. The guy who made the film.
Billy Wilder?
Billy, thank you. He also made Some Like It Hot, which I believe is way, way high up on this film list. Mm-hmm. I've also not seen that. So I think...
It's about men pretending to be women, I think, which is very funny.
Ooh, that is funny.
Yeah.
Though my British husband would find that way funnier than us.
Because
He'd understand that.
He would get it.
Because
we'll need him.
They have such a, clever sense of humor.
It's wit.
Right.
Dry wit, yeah.
So I'm wondering if, sort of zany comedies are... I don't know. I don't really get what the big acclaim about this movie is, even though I liked it.
Right.
But there must be something about it I'm not getting.
I'm not going to put it on my AFI list.
It did win a shit ton of awards.
Yeah, but that's not how I roll.
That's not... You don't give a fuck.
It just doesn't have any lasting effect on me. I'm not going to think about this movie by next week.
I just wonder if I watch more of this... Because I also have this opinion that romantic comedies in general are criminally overlooked. I think, Nora Ephron movies have a way bigger cultural impact and are better.
But have better romances than this
Better
movie.
romances, better writing.
Yeah.
I think When Harry Met Sally, I am not being sarcastic when I think it is a really good film.
And that's not on the list, right?
It is not.
Neither is The Matrix.
Right.
Which...
I don't think you've ever mentioned that before.
That's the first time.
Yeah. So I would not put it on my AFI in conclusion, but I would be open to being convinced.
Letter grade.
C+. I agree with John 100% because I was going to give it a total middling grade, but I'm like, I'm going to give it the plus because I liked it.
Yeah, for some reason. I still don't know why.
Yeah, I would not recommend it to anybody. I wouldn't be like, you have to see The Apartment. But I liked it. I enjoyed watching it.
I walked away satisfied, but I could not tell you why. But I'll go with... I hate to be a follower, but C+.
I think we are just very fair.
Yeah.
All right, before we go, can we thank our sponsors?
Yeah, we have time, yeah.
This week, brought to you by Home Depot.
Home Depot is the #1 seller of wood. So don't bother chopping down a tree. Don't steal some wood. Just go to Home Depot. They have all the wood you need. They should have called it the wood store.
But also Menards has that.
Nope.
No, I didn't. Okay.
No, they do not.
Interesting.
They were trying to sell wood, but they saw what Home Depot was doing. We're not even going to compete.
Oh, so just stop.
Yeah, they saw the variety of wood. It's just, it's a good wood store.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that's it for Flahertys on Films. Join us next week when we discuss The Wild Bunch.
I cannot wait.
All right.
I'm dying. And cut.
That was the best. That was great.